Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Keith. This is All Things Tenerife and more. I'm up in Houston train station. Gonna take a little wander from here up to somewhere I hope I never end up in. You'll see when I get there. Okay, this is Houston train station. As you can see, bustling at the moment. Saturday's normally a busy day here. People heading away on trains throughout, normally just over towards the west of Ireland. As you can see, Cork, Portlaoise, Waterford, down south. It's a busy little station. Now, wind our way out of here. I'll take you with me. So as you can see, busy little station. When you come off the train platforms, these are the 5 platforms here. If you're traveling by taxi, come out and walk this route. Taxi ranks just out here on the right hand side. You have the Lewis on your left hand side when you go out the door. So yeah, taxi rank is just here. There's always taxis here, so don't panic if you come out and there isn't one. It won't take long before one turns up. As you can see, quite a line of them there. It's actually a nice way to see Ireland, is to head out on the train. I haven't done it in a long time. When my kids were quite small the last time I did, where did I go? At Photo Wildlife in Cork, where I ended up. Yeah, we took the train out. It was a nice day out. So, where we're heading now is somewhere I suppose nobody wants to go. Cryptic? I don't think so. You'll see when we get there. Okay, there's 2 things over this area that I want to show you. This is the outer limit, I suppose, of Dublin City. So, next up, suburbia. But again, it's walking distance. I've walked from Croke Park, which is where I parked up before I came out today. Croke Park is the GAA grounds, the home of Irish football, not soccer, Gaelic football, hurling, camogie, 3 fantastic sports, and I'll definitely bring you to one of those and show you exactly what I mean when I say they are absolutely fantastic, high octane, high energy games that you just have to see. If you're in Dublin and you get a chance to go to either a hurling match, camogie, which is women's hurling, or Gaelic football, go. Don't ask questions, take the ticket, snap their arm off, because they're as rare as hen's teeth, particularly towards the end of finals. The 3 just amazing sports. One of the most, I suppose, one of the things about it is they're an amateur. It's an amateur sport, so everyone that plays this game are amateurs, and yet they'll fill a 70,000 seater stadium. Yes, they will fill it to the brim. People will pay good money to go and watch it, but it's the pride of the game. It's the pride of being able to play for your county, and each county puts a team in against each other, and we have, at the end of the year, we have the All-Ireland final in all of those disciplines. So yeah, if you do get a chance, well worth it. So I started my morning off there about, I don't know, 8:15 or so this morning, and I've been on the go since. It's Saturday and the forecast for a change was correct. It's actually beautiful. I'd say we're close to 18 degrees, which for some reason in Dublin feels a hell of a lot warmer than 24 degrees in Tenerife. You're just not used to, you're not used to this level of heat. And I'm not used to walking this amount of time around Ireland, or around Dublin, should I say. These are all new buildings. I can't get over how much. It's been, I suppose, 4 years since I was in Dublin, and I would have been, it's a Garda headquarter. Garda Síochána. I would have been in Dublin, obviously, every day of the week. 6-7 days a week. I drove a taxi in the city. I was in here most days. And so it's 4 years now since I stopped driving a cab and do my present job. But Yeah, so in the 4 years that I haven't been in here at any regular occurrence, it's changed so much. So many modern buildings, so many new buildings. Now, where I'm going to take you now isn't new. In fact, hundreds of years old. But the history attached to it is phenomenal. I love Irish history. And like I've said, and I say this every time I do these type of vlogs, Dublin, Ireland for that matter, you can't tour around Ireland, you can't vlog around Ireland without mentioning the war, so to speak. Don't mention the war. And I don't, when I talk about it, I don't mean it in any way against, it's history. I'm telling you, I'm teaching you, I'm not teaching you, it's the wrong word. I suppose I am. I'm teaching you about the history of the country, the history of Dublin, and how it became what it did, what it is now, how Ireland became what it is. And it was down to occupation, first by the Vikings and then by the British. And again, I'm not getting into the politics of it, I'm not getting into the rights and wrongs of it, I'm just telling it as it is. And this building we're about to go into now, which is the Irish Modern Art, is where it's housed. The Irish Modern Art exhibition is in here. It was once a barracks, and then it became a nursing home, for want of a better word, for the Chelsea pensioners. And those of you who don't know what a Chelsea pensioner is an ex-British soldier. You'll see them in the UK, you see them a lot more than you do here, because it's no longer a home for Chelsea pensioners. But if you wander around London and you see old gentlemen in full long red coats, shiny buttons, in the military style, with a little hat on them, a little black hat, they're Chelsea pensioners. They're ex-British soldiers who don't have family and have nowhere to live, and they live in these little, tiny little accommodations in one of these buildings. And this was one of those. This was a home for Chelsea pensioners. And now it houses the Modern Art Gallery. This is the Royal Hospital in Kilmainham. One of my favourite buildings. And there's an awful lot here, there's a huge amount here. Now, as an artist, if you look at the stables over here, you can actually hire their studios, their art studios. You can actually hire them out. And this building can also be hired out for functions. Weddings, there's a restaurant here, and it has been used for, as I said, weddings, various other events. I just love the pace of it, and I love the history of it. And it's marked out in paces, the square. And the soldiers would have marched around. Now, as I said, now at this moment, this whole building houses Modern Art Exhibition, all the way around. The grounds are absolutely beautiful. And as I said, these little windows would have been the rooms, little dormitories of the Chelsea pensioners. It was actually a hospital, the Royal Hospital in Kilmainham. So it would have been a functioning hospital. And as I say, those little windows are where the Chelsea pensioners used to stay. And if you come in and do the tour, and again, it's free, remember? Majority of Irish galleries and museums are free. It's a lovely way to spend a little bit of time wandering around Dublin and finding out about the history of it without it costing you a fortune. And I suppose it's payback for the fact that it is rather expensive here, to say the least. Now, I'm going to bring you up back around this corner just for a quick sec, because there's a lovely garden here. Sorry, twiddling with my jacket is going loose on me again. I'm losing my jacket. There's an old Victorian garden around here, and if you've come this far, it's well worth a look. Oh yeah, you can still see into it. I see they're doing some work around here. Everywhere in Dublin has either been renovated or restored. The architecture here is just amazing. And you can see, you can feel what happened here. I always find old buildings like this they give off an aura. The risk of sounding a bit hippy dippy, which I do from time to time, because I think I am an old hippie, to be honest with you. I should have been an old hippie. But I think buildings pick up on the vibration of what happened around it. So again, so beautiful. That building across, that monument you see across, the Wellington Monument, that's in the Phoenix Park. We'll say we'll do that another day. But for now, isn't quite finished. I'm going to bring you down to my favourite tour in Dublin. And that's a big thing to say, because I do love the city, there's no question about it. And if it wasn't for the fact that it rains so much, I would happily retire here. If it wasn't for the fact that it costs so much to live here, I would happily retire here. But those two things don't exist and never will. It will always be expensive to live in Ireland. It'll always be expensive to live in Dublin. I think today is the first day it hasn't rained somewhere in Ireland in 220 days or 222 days. It's a long time. It's been a hell of a long time. And that's not unusual. Like, I don't mean it's not raining constantly. It's the common misconception of people who come to visit Ireland. They expect it to rain constantly. It doesn't. But it does rain a lot. There's no question about that. So we're going to walk down this little boulevard from the Royal Hospital in Kilmainham to Kilmainham Jail. Kilmainham Jail, I don't know how to describe it. It's no longer a jail, obviously. It's now a museum. You can tour around it. You can do a tour around it, and it's probably if you were to do one tour, if I recommend one tour and one tour only, Kilmainham Jail is the tour that you take. That's the one you go on. There are so many other things you can do, but let's say Kilmainham Jail is without question the best one. If you want a taste, not even a taste, if you want an understanding of Irish history and why Irish people are so passionate about their history, Kilmainham Jail is the place where you find out those answers. You'll get the answers to those questions when you go to Kilmainham Jail. And I suppose the history of it from regards to Irish independence and 1916, which is, I suppose, where it gets it's most famous for, because it's where they imprisoned the heroes from 1916 in Kilmainham Jail. So the 7 heroes were locked up here, and if it wasn't for the fact that they broadcast the executions of the people, of the soldiers and the heroes from 1916, I think the Irish history would have been completely different. I think the thing that most people don't understand about Irish history is when the 1916 Rising, which was Easter weekend, when it occurred, the Irish people were a bit pissed. They weren't happy with it. Kind of an inconvenience to them, to be honest with you, and this is true. It was somewhat of an inconvenience to have the Irish Republican Army wandering around Easter weekend when most people were off and hoping to enjoy themselves, and instead we had a small revolution took place. So there was huge devastation. I mean, Dublin City was practically levelled. There was a lot of buildings, the likes of the GPO, Cleary's buildings, O'Connell Street, buildings on the south and north side, that were basically just facades left. Everything else was bombed and burnt out by the conflict between the British and the Irish. So when everybody was round up and brought to prison, like I say, Irish people weren't, don't say, I'm not saying all, but there was a lot of people that were just kind of like, oh, look, thank God it's over. We've had enough. We've lived with this for this length of time and just let it go. But the biggest mistake the British government made at the time was not only to execute them, but was to publicly execute them. They set up microphones and speakers and allowed people to hear the gunfire and the shots. And when it was discovered that one, James Connolly, was actually tied to a chair, he was injured, he was dying, that's what turned the 1916 Rising into a success. It wasn't so much all that went before that. That very much was a turning point in Irish history, when this heroic Irishman was taken out, strapped to, he was dying. So if they left him the next 24 hours, 12 hours, we don't know, he would have died in any way. But he'd have died with dignity. And instead, they strapped him to a chair and they shot him against the wall. And as I said, this was very well publicised. And I suppose the rest of it is just history. The Irish Republican Army went from strength to strength, and we now live in a republic instead of an occupied Ireland. But that's history. So here it is. We're about to come through the gate which leads us out to Clum Jail. And like I say, if you get a chance to do only one tour in Dublin City, Clum Jail is the tour that you do. No question. And if you're lucky enough to stay at the Hilton Hotel out here, you really don't have an excuse not to do Clum Jail.
This way is nicer though, isn't it?
Okay. This is one time I'm gonna actually wait for the traffic to pass. Hilton Group, there's I think 3 of these in Dublin. This one, the one down beside the Famine Ship, beside the Ginny Johnson, definitely one to go for. And then there's one out in towards Dublin Airport. If you want a business hotel, definitely 100% go for it. If you want something close to everything, don't go near it. These ones are fine, they're brilliant. And they're standard. Hiltons are Hiltons. There's no question about it. So this is the entrance into Clum Jail. When you get your ticket, you go in and you wait on the right hand side in the courtroom, and once you're in the courtroom they'll take you from there and they'll bring you through the jail. It's without question the best tour in the city, and I defy anybody not to come out of it with a completely different understanding of Irish history. And I'm not suggesting you come out singing old Irish rebel songs, but you do get an understanding of what it was like for these men to be imprisoned here. And you actually stand, so this is the part that gets most people. When I was taxiing, I drove so many people up here and I'd collect them and bring them back. I picked up people out of here, Americans, in tears, because they just connected with what happened. So literally behind that wall is where these men were executed. You stand on the square, you actually stand on the spot where they were executed. X marks the spot, and you can stand in that very spot where those people lost their life. So we have freedom, so we have this Republic of Ireland. Now, the risk of me sounding too Republican, if you like what you see, thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me so far. Hit the like, subscribe, and the bell for notification. And please, if you're in Dublin and you want to see, as I said, something that will teach you a little bit about Irish history and about why we are the way we are, this is it. Royal Hospital Clum and Clum Jail. 2 fantastic places to visit. So thank you very much. Hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell for notification, and I'll talk to you in the next one.